Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Mary Esther Miranda-Gilbert, Nutritional Physiologist, founder of the True Health Mastery Institute of Holistic Personal Health Management. And I'm wishing everyone a holy Merry Christmas and health and happiness to all throughout these holidays. And tonight we will be going over some of the essential oils that are listed in the Bible. So let me go ahead and show you the science behind these essential oils. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so tonight's topic, the essential oils of the Bible, the ancient healing medicinals still used today. Okay, so the most frequently mentioned and significant essential oils in the Bible include frankincense, myrrh, cassia, cinnamon. Those are two different botanicals, spikenard, cedarwood, and hyssop. The ancients used essential oils for anointing, incense, perfume, medicine, and purification. So frankincense and myrrh are central to the biblical nativity story as a holy anointing oil. So let's go ahead and start with frankincense. Now, you will see the Latin names. These are the universal scientific names so that scientists all over the world know which species, we are talking about. So it's Boswellia serrata. So I also picked out a few of the biblical verses that mention these oils. So this one is the Song of Solomon 4:6. Until the cool of the day, when the shadows flee away, I will go my way to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. I thought that was really beautiful. So this is what they look like. This is the whole tree here, and these are the close-up leaves and the resin that's extracted from the bark. So the essential oil of frankincense is derived from the distillation of the concentrated volatile or aromatic fluid from different parts of the plant, the roots, the seeds, the leaves, the flowers, and the resins from the bark. So the main chemical constituents, as you can see here. Now, if you've been following my channel or have been, reading my books and just following me generally, then some of these chemical constituents are going to be somewhat familiar. So there are at least 25,000 phytochemical compounds so far that science has studied in the whole array of botanicals on Earth, the healing botanicals, the medicinal plants, things like that, and even our regular foods. So when we talk about phytochemical compounds, I will show you, if you're new here, I will show you all of the health benefits that these plant compounds actually have. So some of them, for example, are the pentacyclic terpenoids. The terpenoid term should be familiar to some of you by now, and the tetracyclic terpenoids. So, we've got all these other components, these subcategories and sub-subcategories, so they're talking about where they are taken from. So a lot of these are the boswellic acids. They're taken from the woody parts of the various trees of the frankincense. So here's a little diagram. I love when the scientists, when I'm doing the research, I love when they give us these cute little diagrams, a quick glance as to what the frankincense has been found to be beneficial for. It's anti-inflammatory whenever your body is in a state of stress, whether it's a physical reaction to something that shouldn't be there, or if you're responding to psychological, emotional stress, the body goes into this inflammatory response. And in prolonged periods, if that happens constantly, then your body can go into the degenerative health and, God forbid, disease process, right? So these compounds work to calm down the nervous system and prevent a lot of the stress reactions because it's healing. In the meantime, it's correcting what is wrong in the first place, the root cause. Also, it's an antithrombotic, so it prevents blood clotting. Anti-cancer, there's so much research done on these botanicals on the fact that they actually destroy cancer cells. Anti-diabetic, antimicrobial. Like I said before, the immune system responds to inflammatory, reactions, or it can be attenuated by these wonderful compounds. Anti-ulcer, Antifibrotic, so also in the state of inflammation, your body can start forming these micro scar tissues in the cells or in the tissues. So this prevents that as well. So there's so much research associated with these oils. I love when they provide these wonderful charts. Now, if you know me and if you've seen my work, you know that I love charts because they're at a glance, quick information, right? So they laid out, these wonderful scientists, they laid out the different types of frankincense trees and also, or plants, and where they are found, what countries they're found, and how they're distilled or, just concentrated into the essential oils. And these are the active components that they list for us. And also on the side, I kept the references so that you can go here. As you can see, you can click on it, you can follow and look at what the scientific research studies have found. All right, so this is really handy if you want to do more in-depth research on the frankincense essential oil. This is a great source for you. So let's go on to myrrh, Commiphora myrrha. Genesis 43:11, their father Israel said to them, if it must be so, then do this. Take from the choice fruits of the land in your bags and carry down a present for the man, a little balm, a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. Doesn't that sound healthy? To me, it sounds like you can just roll it all up into a protein bar or something. So anyway, this is now, there's definitely distinctive differences between these oils, as you can see, even though this is, trimmed in a similar way as the frankincense tree was, right? But they're obviously different botanicals. All right, so this is the true myrrh. There's variations on myrrh as well, and this is what the essential oil industry always uses. All righty, and these are the close-up leaves. So it's found from the southern area of Arabia to the northeastern region of Africa, where in Kenya, true myrrh is produced. The extract is produced by secretory tissues in the bark. Reported use: wounds, aches, joint inflammation, fractures, parasitic infections, obesity, gastrointestinal conditions. The bioactive constituents are these wonderful phytochemicals. Plant steroids, do not confuse those with the synthetics used in sports. These plant steroids are a lot different and a lot better for you. The terpenoids and the flavonoids, the lignans and the polysaccharides, which are a huge classification of very, very beneficial carbohydrates. So also the biological actions of the crude extracts and the pure oils. Again, they're antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-proliferative, which means it does not allow cancer cells to grow or to expand or invade the body. Cardiovascular, and the hepatoprotective actions in it. They protect the liver. Pharmacological activities are such like wound healing, healing the mouth ulcers, healing all kinds of aches and pains, and fractures, helping the bones heal. Stomach disorders. Let me let Gail in here. Stomach disorders, microbial infection, inflammatory disease. So the gums from the myrrh are used as an antiseptic, astringent, an anthelmintic, which means they get rid of worms, carminative, emmenagogue, expectorant, and stomachic. So they help the body get rid of things. They help reduce the toxins in the body, and they're also used for pain. So the antioxidant actions of the Commiphora myrrha extracts serve as electron donors that convert cell-damaging free radicals to more stable molecules. Now, if you've been following my work, you know that I've talked about how we are electrical beings. We can thrive on the electrons at the subatomic, submolecular level, at the atomic level, where the atoms exist, where they are active with the positive and negative charges. The interaction of all of our biochemistry, everything that the body does, is electrical. So we need those energy active foods that are also electrically charged. So they can donate what the beneficial electrons are to our cells to help them heal, to help them function better, and to perpetuate our aliveness. So if you are not eating foods that are not enzyme active, light energy frequency active like this, with all these electrons flowing in their atomic, structures, then your body will not benefit. So we need sunshine. We need those plants that have absorbed this energy from the sun. So those are the kinds of things that go on in the body that people just probably aren't aware of half the time. So someone who is sick is going to vibrate at a lower frequency than someone who is healthy. Okay, so we do need these wonderful electrons. So you can also put your bare feet on the ground, on the earth, outside, on the grass, and collect an abundant, never-ending supply of electrons that the earth is gracious enough to donate to our cells. So we have to have these kinds of actions going on in our cells. And these essential oils are so, so important because they preserve those types of active, viable ingredients. So also, the antioxidant actions of myrrh disrupt and terminate free radical chain reactions. So free radicals are the ones that are missing electrons, and they're looking to steal electrons from the body. And if that happens on a larger scale, then the body starts deteriorating. Okay, so we want to prevent these free radicals. What's a free radical? Anything that does not belong in the body, anything toxic. Even our stress reactions, the chemicals that we produce under stress, are called free radicals because what they have in common with the synthetic pesticides and things like that invade our bodies, they are missing electrons. So they're going to steal them from the healthy cells. All right, so this prevents that from happening because it donates electrons. It has an abundant supply of electrons. So antimicrobial actions found to disable growth and activities of various bacteria, fungi, parasites, and viral strains. So, these plant compounds, they have been shown to disable all of these microbials. Also, myrrh has been shown to inhibit actions of the herpes simplex virus type 1 and the influenza virus type A, the H1N1. It showed antimicrobial actions against the Candida albicans yeast, which is the yeast infection type of yeast, and the bacteria Streptococcus pyogenes and Staphylococcus aureus. So strep throat, if anybody's ever gotten that bacterium in their system, you know what that feels like. Staph infections are common in many people who, get exposed to these kinds of microbials. Okay. Also, the myrrh has neuroprotective effects as like phytonootropics. So, they are going to protect the nerves. Also, it actually contains the acetylcholinesterase. It's an enzyme, and what that does is it boosts brain activity and enhances memory retention and learning. Also, it stimulates the insulin secretion in balancing your blood sugar, so it also works on the pancreas. Analgesic, pain relieving, anesthetic action because of two sesquiterpenoid phytochemical compounds. And also they act as opioid receptors on nerve cells, so they're going to turn down pain. Anti-cancer properties, induces cancer cell suicide, apoptosis. It stops uncontrolled cancer cell growth and proliferation. Isolated sesquiterpene phytochemical compounds prevented cell multiplication of these cancers and brought on apoptosis or self-destruction of these cancer cells that have been growing in the laboratory. Sometimes they grow them for years and years so that they can keep testing all these different stimuli against these cells. So they've been tested against things like myrrh and all these other essential oils and other plant compounds have been tested against these cancer cell lines. Alrighty, so they've been tested on leukemia and prostate cancers in this case. Also, it showed antifungal, antibacterial activity on sore throat and chest infections, like I said earlier. Subdued inflammatory responses showed expectorant properties, showed antiparasitic activity, reduced nasal congestion in cold and flu infections, immune stimulating, serving as an expectorant in nasal and chest congestion. And also myrrh oil added to hot water and inhaling the steam is associated with clearing congestion along with its analgesic effect on associated headaches. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I can't fit everything in a 1 hour presentation for everyone, but I just wanted to let you know how amazing these essential oils are on these plants on this planet. So here's a quick summary of all of the things that I just talked about. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, and this is kind of redundant. I liked the depiction that the scientists portrayed here in their report, so I borrowed them. It's perfectly fine to borrow scientists' work. They want this information to get out into the public. Okay, so now let's go to cassia. It's often because it smells and tastes like cinnamon and it's in the same family, it's used interchangeably. But the Bible makes a distinction. In Exodus 30:23, the anointing oil, the Bible said, take the finest spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half that amount, 250 shekels of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant cane, 24, 24,500 shekels of cassia, all according to the sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. Obviously, these are measurements. Prepare from these a sacred anointing oil, a fragrant blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be a sacred anointing oil. All right, so there's some specific information on how to use these botanicals, right? So here's a beautiful tree of the cassia, and these are the leaves. And you'll see when I cover the cinnamon, they're pretty similar, but they are a different species. So the cassia is distributed in China, India, Vietnam, Indonesia, and other countries like the United States. More than 160 biochemicals have been identified in the cinnamomum cassia, and its pharmacological effects include anti-tumor. So the phytochemical constituents have been extensively studied in lung, breast, oral, cervical cancers, and head and neck squamous cell carcinoma. Okay, carcinoma. It's also an anti-inflammatory, analgesic, anti-diabetic. It helps the body regulate its blood sugar. Anti-obesity. It helps the body regulate its fats. Antibacterial, antiviral, cardiovascular protective, cytoprotective. In other words, it protects the integrity, structure, and function of your cells. Neuroprotective, the same thing for your nerves. Immunoregulatory, it aids the immune system. It's right alongside there, aiding in whatever the immune system needs. Phytochemical compounds include the terpenoids, the phenylpropanoids, glycosides, lignans, and lactones. If you were to look up each one of these on the internet, you would come into a vast amount of scientific data on what these phytochemicals do in the body. And I do cover that in one of my books that I will introduce to you at the end of this video. Protective against gastric ulcers induced by stress. Neuroprotective effects, anti-anxiety, cognitive improvement, antidepressant. So it acts on the brain. And I will go into that some more when I cover one of the other essential oils. Immunoregulation effects. All right, so again, it aids the immune system. Okay, so now we go into the cedarwood. We're about halfway there, everybody. Cedrus spp. The designation at the end of the Latin term is usually named after the scientist who classified many types of plants. So sometimes you'll see an L there or any other kind of suffix. Okay, so in Leviticus 14:4 on purification, the priest shall order that 2 live clean birds and some cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop be brought for the person to be cleansed. All right, so here is what this beautiful tree looks like, the cedarwood tree. We all know what cedarwood smells like, right? And this is a close-up of the needles. It contains a complex array of bioactive complexes obtained from different sources that vary according to species, region, and extraction methods. These are grown all over the world. They grow indigenously all over the world. So the climate conditions, the soil conditions, that kind of thing always causes variations in these different trees. So it contains a complex array of bioactive complexes obtained from different sources that vary according to species, region, and extraction methods. So we've got the terpenoids and sesquiterpenes. So, it looks like, they've got the same phytochemicals as all the other ones do. But like I said, these are major classifications. So when you analyze one of these botanicals, then you're going to see they have many, many different types of terpenoids that vary according to the plant, as well as the sesquiterpenes and the other thousands of phytochemicals. So under the terpenoid sesquiterpene classification, we've got cedrol, alpha cedrine, beta cedrine, Food, thujopsine, and withdrawal. So that's just, again, that's just some of them. I'm just displaying what I found in the scientific data. And of course, there's thousands of scientific studies that have been posted on these botanicals. So pharmacological activity, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. Also, it's been found to have anxiolytic properties. It helps you deal with stress. Sedative effects due to the cedrol, a major phytochemical component for anxiety, insomnia, and agitation. Inhalation leads to reduced locomotor activity. So if you were to use a few drops of the essential oil on your body, it might make you feel relaxed. But if you use too much of it, it's going to put you to sleep. So please treat these with respect. Always use the labeling suggested dosing, okay? And most of these are not for internal use. They won't poison you, but you don't want to get in the habit of using them internally. Mostly, you just rub them on the bottom of your feet. Just put a few drops of oil on your palm, and just rub, the oils all over the bottom of your feet, because the skin is pretty thick there, and there won't be some irritation. Sometimes if you put them on really sensitive areas, then it could cause a little bit of red irritation. So it's always safest and best to put them on your feet. Okay, anxiolytic, sedative effects due to this, I already said that, right? Inhalation leads to reduced locomotor activity, prolonged sleep time, lower stress-induced corticosteroid levels. So the corticosteroid happens when there's an imbalance in the body's ability to handle stress, and also affects how your body handles dietary fats and your body fat. So if someone has trouble losing weight, then they need to look at how much sleep they're getting, if they're getting regular sleep. That's the first thing. There's many other factors, of course, affecting being overweight. And if you're more curious about that, you can watch one of my videos on this channel. Okay, prolonged sleep time. Sometimes people need a little bit of help in just forgetting about their troubles, right? And just relaxing and having a good night's sleep without being drugged, without any dangerous side effects. So, unless you're going to just use way too much, they're concentrated as it is. All you need is like 2 or 3 drops on the palm of your hand and applying it. So that's all you really need for each feet, is what I'm referring to. Okay, so it does help lower the corticosteroid sterone levels in the body. Okay, so in vitro studies, which means in the laboratory, shows inhibition of pro-inflammatory mediators. So they just show you the nitric oxide, the prostaglandins, the tumor necrosis factor alpha. Tropical use in animal models showed reduced edema and erythema, suggesting possible use in eczema or contact dermatitis. So these are just some of the things that some scientists have found, some of the data that I pulled for this presentation, just to give you an idea of what goes on in the body. So these are the biochemicals that are produced in the body, and the effects that it can have on your skin, and how your body regulates water as far as the edema goes. Okay, so current evidence is limited to small animal test subjects and cell-based research, often with non-standardized preparations. So as you can see, there are many studies out there that are trying to standardize the applications of these essential oils so that they can measure the outcomes. So it varies so much throughout the world. No one's really set the standard yet. And as much as the amount of research that's been done on these botanicals, we still have to have more research done so that there can be more consistent outcomes. All right. And we do need more human test subjects. Mostly they use animal test subjects. And so, you have to question how they're treated. And so that's my main concern all the time when I look at these animal studies, especially when they induce things like cancer in these animals. And luckily, some of these essential oils, they have been shown to help the rodents' bodies get rid of the cancer. So, this is a very iffy subject and very painful for a lot of us, but still we have to just see if we can have the scientific community do more studies on human studies. Okay, so variability in chemical composition across species and extraction methods, like I mentioned earlier. So we've got all these different species growing all over the world. So it's really difficult, actually to try to standardize something like that because of those variations. Also, it's been known for skin healing. Astringent and antibacterial properties may help regulate sebum production and reduce acne microbial colonization. Okay, and we're talking about the cedarwood here. All righty, let's see. Did I lose my place? I hope not. Okay, here we go. All right, current evidence limited to, okay, got that one. Skin healing, wound healing. Okay, in vitro data shows increased fibroblast activity and collagen synthesis. So when cells start to heal themselves and they form these fibers, sometimes it ends up being a lot of scar tissue, but at least it heals the wound. And then collagen synthesis, which is the protein that our cells are made out of. Dermatitis and irritation, soothing, calming to irritated skin. All right, so insecticidal and insect repellent properties. And so if you ever bought anything for being outdoors, then you know that cedarwood is a good insect repellent. And it also destroys the insects. It disrupts their neural signaling that interferes with their respiration. Okay, therapeutic actions involving the central nervous system, oxidative stress, modulation, and genomic or DNA stability. So it helps protect your very genetic code that operates your entire body. Antioxidant effects against oxidative stress and chemotherapy. So I used to put a lot of my clients on essential oils when they were going through chemo or radiation therapy, and it really minimized their symptoms. So they showed also in cedarwood studies cytotoxic effects against human breast cancer cell line. Of course, they have to label all of their cancers, their cell lines that they're studying, right? So this one happened to be MCF7. So this breast cancer cell line that they've been growing the cultures, in the laboratory, they applied the cedarwood to some of these and it destroyed it. It caused the cancer cells to implode on themselves and destroy themselves. Future research should include controlled trials and standard preparations. So yes, we do need more scientific research, but thousands and thousands of years of use of these essential oils and the multi-billion-dollar supplement industry and people buying these oils and coming up with their healing stories, right? We can't ignore those. They're not as scientific, but we also can't just turn our backs on them. There is definitely something there. When you have the science and you have someone who has used these oils and have produced the same results as what the science has found, then you know you've got something, right? You can say with confidence that this is probably going to help, right? Okay, this is not a medical assertion, by the way. I'm merely presenting the scientific research. All right, so let's look at cinnamon. Cinnamon zeylanicum. And in Proverbs 7:17, it says, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. So they're antimicrobial and, they help neutralize the bacterial and other odoriferous, microbials that might be lingering in someone's bed, right? So these essential oils will neutralize them and therefore minimize the odors until you can get them in the wash, of course. All right, so this is what the cinnamon tree looks like. And it looks pretty similar to the cassia, right? So here are the leaves of the cassia, and here's the tree. And then we go down to the cinnamon tree. And this is more of a close-up so you can see what the leaves look like, but they do look pretty similar. So here's some antimicrobial properties of the Cinnamon zeylanicum. Okay, so again, the scientists are so kind as to give us these nice charts to look at, right? And summarize everything rather than me writing it all out for you in the usual format. I love when they provide this. So you've got the country, where cinnamon is indigenous to or distributed to. That's a lot of different countries. So it looks redundant, but they're just different scientists, that have come up with this information. So it's all in this table. The organisms that they destroy, all of these very dangerous illness-causing bacteria and fungi. I don't know if they have any viruses listed here, but mostly it's bacteria and fungi. Okay, and then the main outcomes, this is what the scientists found when they applied them to either the test subjects or the cell lines. So, they had were used against food poisoning, food spoilage organisms, and organisms of fecal origin. Also, the cinnamon extracts demonstrated inhibitory effects of these bacterium here as well. So they list even more than on the other column here. And also, among all spices tested, the cinnamon inhibited Candida albicans most effectively. That's noteworthy. And so, I can just go on. And those of you who are already members, you have access to this document and you can research it further. You can use the reference sources I provide at the end of the document, and you can click on any one of these studies and go explore. You'll end up in this labyrinth and get lost among all of the thousands of studies that have been done on these botanicals. So this is a lot of, if you're inclined or if you're like a geek like I am, you'll have a great time. I never get tired of producing these documents because I learn so much and I'm always eager to share this information with everyone. Alrighty, so again, we've got all of these amazing outcomes. One on Pseudomonas pneumonia. I mean, it just goes on and on, right? Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can spot something here that I can call out. It worked, let's see, this one also worked against all the fungi. Okay, more bacteria, as you can see. And some of these are actually anti-parasitic, but we're getting to that. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through here. As you can see, it's kind of redundant. Yeah, you know by now, these oils are antibacterial, antimicrobial. They help balance the blood sugar. They protect the immune system. They help the body get rid of anything that doesn't belong in there, helps detoxify. So far, that's what they have in common. Okay. So here's a little last thing here. The essential oil of cinnamon showed strong antimicrobial activity against all microorganisms tested. And these are all of the organisms that were tested, apparently. Okay. So now we've got two more to go. Spikenard. My phone keeps ringing. I think I left it in the other room. Okay, I hope it's not an emergency. All right, so spikenard, nardo, stachys jatamansi. John 12:3. Mary therefore took a pound of expensive ointment made from pure nard, which is short for spikenard, and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. Okay, this is what the spikenard looks like. Beautiful little lavender, lilac-colored flowers. And I know that plants of the same species produce different colors. Again, it's because of the soil conditions. Okay, so native to the high altitude of the Himalayan region and widely found in India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet. So here are the phytochemicals that are present that the scientists were so kind as to show us. Okay, so they described the different plants, a part of the plants, and they showed all the different phytochemical compounds in each part of the plant. All right, so the effects of plant parts. The roots have been shown to be anti-anxiety, anti-stress, cognitive enhancer, improving cognitive function and memory, anti-inflammatory, hepatoprotective, they protect the liver, reduce biomarkers of liver damage, and the leaves. They may be useful for inflammatory conditions such as arthritis. Notice the word may in there. The scientists always have to be careful not to make declarative statements, right? They cannot do that because science changes. Someone may conduct a study and produce a different result. So we might have conflicting, outcomes for a while. But the more scientists study and the more they apply their very high standards of how to obtain data and reach a scientific conclusion, the more of those kinds of credible studies are done, then the more information we'll have to be able to say that they actually are inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, right, for arthritis. So, but the scientists have done quite a bit of work. There are literally thousands of studies done and multiple thousands of scientific journals that they've been published to. So if you ever do some research on these things, you'll see that you can just get lost in all of the research. Okay, so leaves may be useful for conditions like arthritis. Stems, antioxidant, protection against oxidative damage. Pharmacological activities, antifungal, inhibits the growth of several fungal species. Antibacterial, inhibits activity of several bacteria like E. coli, Escherichia coli, and Staphylococcus aureus, or staph for short. Cardioprotective actions, protecting the heart from damage, antioxidant, reduction of heart injury markers in experimental studies. So they protect the heart tissues. Hypolipidemic activity, reducing blood levels, fat levels, lipid levels in the blood, like low density lipoprotein, blood cholesterol. They'll lower the triglycerides, and they'll aid the liver's ability to remove excess blood cholesterol. It increases levels of the good high density lipoprotein or HDL cholesterol. Antidepressant activity, modulates the neurotransmitter levels and the brain's stress response. So we're talking about what happens to the nerve impulse, the electrical transmissions at the cellular level of your nerves. Found to increase the brain monoamines, serotonin, and norepinephrine. These are neurotransmitters involved in regulating mood and stress. Again, we're talking about our electrical system sending signals and transmitting communications. Antioxidant activity prevents free radical damage, highly reactive molecules that damage cells and tissues that lead to cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neurodegenerative diseases. So antioxidants means that they don't allow the deterioration process that oxygen is involved in. Oxygen is very important for us. We need to breathe it, out of the air, but it's the fundamental thing. We need to stay alive. But when you have these molecules that have oxygen in the molecules and they are behaving like free radicals, then they're damaging the body's cells and they cause a deterioration or degenerative process. So that, anything that is an antioxidant is going to protect against that degenerative, activity. Neuroprotective, found to protect nerve cells from damage, found to improve cognition, prevent memory impairment. Anti-Parkinson activity is due to the presence of the phytochemical compounds jatamancin and spirojatamol, found to have neuroprotective and antioxidant effects. Anticonvulsant activity due to its ability to modulate the activity of neurotransmitters such as GABA and glutamate, key in controlling seizures. So, they're going to throw in these biochemicals at us. So, you can look them up, or you can buy my book. It's all in the encyclopedia dictionary that I put together in my book. Okay, so yeah, we're still talking about spikenard, everybody. All right, so stress relieving activity, improves stress-related physiological changes. Again, stress affects the physical body because it affects the biochemistry. Shown to regulate the stress response, researchers believe these actions may be due to the presence of the active compounds that I just mentioned, plus spirojatamol and nardocin. Anti-hyperglycemic effect. I know this is information overkill, everybody, but you can review the video and join the True Health Mastery Institute so you can review these documents at your leisure. Anti-hyperglycemic effect contains phytochemicals, again, the jatamancin and nardocin, found to regulate glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity in animal studies. Effect on estrogen and hair growth. It just keeps going, doesn't it? It goes on and on and on. Rodent studies found to have an effect on estrogen levels and their growth. Why do they use rodents? Because supposedly their metabolisms are similar to humans. Supposedly. Indicated spikenard's potential as a natural remedy for estrogen-related hair loss. I just did a video on hair loss, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. So if you have that problem, please look into that video here on this channel. If you like what you've seen so far, please hit the like button. It helps my channel grow. It helps put this information in front of more people out there. And if you want to hear more about every week, I post the videos on my YouTube channel. If you want to be notified, then hit the subscribe button and also tap that notification bell. And if you're so inclined, please share as much as you can. I'm trying to get this information out to the masses. And just by clicking on those things, that helps grow the channel and get this information to as many people as possible. Thank you. Okay, so hair growth, right? Nootropic activity. Studies indicate its compounds show potential as a natural remedy for cognitive enhancement, learning, memory, focus, spatial learning. That's understanding the process of understanding, remembering, navigating, your space, problem solving, mental rotation, like map reading, forming mental maps in the mind, remembering directions, things like that. Anti-cancer activity found to inhibit growth of cancer cell lines in both in vitro in the cell lines in the laboratory and in vivo in live test subjects. Okay, so anyone who is a customer and buying these oils, they are also test subjects. It's just not done formally, right? But when you have thousands upon thousands of people for generations reporting on the same outcomes, the positive outcomes, then you have empirical data that has to be taken seriously. And when that matches the science, then you've got something, right? And then when you try them and you have the results, then that pretty much solidifies it, right? Okay, so further research investigations are needed to study spikenard's potential as a natural cancer remedy. So yeah, let's do some research on the different cancers, right? Radioprotective activity, protection against the gamma radiation therapy-induced damage, found to reduce the side effects of oxidative stress and cellular DNA damage in rodents. Further studies are needed to confirm results in humans. This is a statement that scientists are putting out there. We need more studies. All right, so one more, everybody, hang in there with me. The hyssop, Hyssopus officinalis. John, 1929, a jar of wine vinegar was there, so they soaked a sponge in it, put the sponge on a stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it to Jesus's lips. And I just want to cry when I think about that. If you know the Bible, you'll know, what the scenery was when that took place. Okay, so here it is, the hyssop plant. I used to grow this in my herb garden when I was in Northern California. One of the many herbs that I grew and offered to my clients, distributed in the East Mediterranean to Central Asia and Mongolia. So it's pretty much all over the world. Flowering tops and leaves are used for essential oil, tea, aroma, and flavoring, and as a natural additive in foods, beverages, cosmetics, and household products. It's a beautiful, wonderful aroma. If you've ever smelled it, it's just breathtaking. Important active phytochemicals. Here we are again. Here's all the different phytochemicals. And again, these are the major classifications. So we've got, if you were to do a deep dive on the phytochemicals in every single one of these, then you'll see there's a lot more because of the subclassifications. So the main ones are the beta-pinene, the pinocamphone, the isopinocamphone, the flavonoids, and the phenolic compounds. These are huge. And okay, so now biological activities, antimicrobial. So they're listing all the phytochemical compounds that were shown to destroy these bacteria here. And that's quite a bit of them that were tested. And oops, what did I do? I don't know what I did. I have no idea what I did. Let me try to get rid of it here. I'll have to fix that later, everybody. I don't know what, that's never happened. I've been using this, the Word program for decades. Okay, so caffeic acid, I don't know if you can see that. So somehow it wants me to highlight something. All right, let's just keep going. The show must go on, right? Okay, antimicrobial properties, antifungal, these are the different funguses, right, that they found. And antiviral, actually inhibited the replication of the HIV virus. Anti-cancer, cytotoxic, meaning it makes the cancer cells destroy themselves. It's called programmed death sometimes. Showed an inhibitory effect against in vitro cancer and tumor cell lines. breast malignant melanoma, human colon cancer cell lines. Showed high antioxidant activity of phytochemicals, linalool and methyl-eugenol. Mosquito larvicidal activity demonstrated its lethal concentrations acted against mosquito larvae, and researchers are in search of mosquito control to protect against mosquito-related diseases, malaria, chikungunya, and Zika virus, and dengue, shock, bleeding, organ failure. So thank you, scientists, for giving us that amazing information. And again, if you are a member, you have access to all of the scientific research studies that I pulled for this presentation. And those of you who aren't familiar with my books, you can go to my website, holisticchoices.com, click on the Books by Mary Esther Gilbert, and I describe each book very in detail, and I provide a video describing it further. So, don't judge a book by its cover. Please explore what each of these books have to offer you. None of them are redundant. And some of them might overlap a little bit because you have to when you're nourishing your body, right? But if you want to learn about 109 different botanicals that will show you what I showed you tonight on these botanicals, then you have a whole repertoire of healing foods at your disposal. My nutritional synergy system, I also have a course that goes with it. You can pick and choose from 14 different categories to make your food not only interesting, but completely health restorative. So this is a very unique system that I've been using for my clients for over 47 years. And other books too, so you can explore those. You can go to my, you are on my YouTube channel right now, so you can please subscribe. Again, as a reminder, please help me get the word out. And if you'd like to become a member, then you can go to my website again and click on the True Health Mastery Institute link on the side there, and you can join, And again, here's the course that goes with my Nutritional Synergy book. And that's what I have for you today out there. I'm going to stop the share. And hi, Gail. I saw you come in. I let you in there. But nice to see you. Okay, so I'm going to let the public go for now, and please come back to the channel. There'll be a new video every single week, and I'm really happy that hopefully you stayed till the very end, right? And please go explore my website. There's so much healing information out there for you that I produce, and I cannot wait to share with everyone. I'm always learning, and everything I learn, I share. All right, so it's good to have you here. Please come back, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.